And we're back with some more New York Rangers franchise mode in FHM 11. And in this one, we are going to continue the offseason of year number 8 following a very disappointing exit in the playoffs. And there are a couple things that I want to do. First thing, we are going to make a trade with Detroit as they have a certain goaltender who I would like to acquire, and that is Spencer Knight. He is currently 31 years of age on a $2 million deal for this year, so he's affordable, at least for 1 year. This past season with Detroit, he had a .910 save percentage. He had a .904 the 2 years before, .905, .907. Very consistent simulator, with the exception of the 2023-24 season with Florida, where he had an .875. But that was a while ago, so I'll give him a pass on that. He unfortunately has never been in the playoffs in this simulation, so it's hard to tell whether he's going to be a playoff performer or not, but I'm willing to take the chance at this point, especially considering how little we're going to have to give up here for Spencer Knight. And what they want is simply the rights to, where is he? Adamo, who is a 1-star ability, 1-star potential player, not really any future here, and a 6th round pick, I believe, from Dallas. Yep, that is just about all they need to give up Spencer Knight. And we're also going to ask them to retain half of Spencer Knight's cap, so that way we are only paying him $1 million effectively. So offer trade, we'll see what they say. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to offer out Dylan LeBray, Isaac Ratcliffe, and Caden Petre on the trade block and see what we could get for them, because we really have to make some significant changes here. And Ratcliffe and Petre are both making a little bit too much. Petre only had 19 points last year in 67 games played and a 60 grade, and he's currently making $6 million, not paying $6 million for production like that. And then Ratcliffe, I mean, he's good for 5.7, especially considering he only wants, what was it, 2 point something? Yeah, 2.7 on his extension. But he is 33, and I would like to get something back for him if we can. And if that is, a second or a first round pick even, then I think I would like to do that. And LeBray, he's just not a very good simulator, so we're going to be moving him out. So let's see if we get LeBray and Petre in a package deal. Looks like we get a 2nd and a 3rd from Boston. That's for next year's draft, though. We get a 2nd and a 4th for this year's draft from Edmonton. And then we could get a 2nd and a 3rd for this year's draft from Vegas. I think we're going to take the 2nd and the 3rd from this year's draft from Vegas. So LeBray and Petre, thank you for your services. But it's time to move on. There you go. And then Isaac Ratcliffe, let's see what we can get for him. We can get a 2nd round pick for Ratcliffe. Yeah, I mean, I think we got to do it. That first round reverse sweep was just one huge oof. And I think we got to make some it's about time that we make some change here in New York. So let's send him to Boston. And then free agency, we're going to approach a couple of guys in Ben Hemmerling, who is a 2.5-star ability. Not very good defensively, unfortunately, so he's more so just a depth player, but he does have 17 speed, 16 team player, a pretty good offensive category. He last played in the NHL with the Vegas Golden Knights. In 28 games played, he had 6 points at a 55 grade. So once again, not a pretty player, but just as some insurance in case we need him as an injury call-up. And then we're also going to go after Noah Dower-Nielsen, who is a 2.5-star ability. He has not played in the NHL since the 2029-30 season with Detroit, where he had 16 games played and 8 points. So just another cheap depth signing. I was looking at Liam Dower-Nielsen just to get the guys with the same last names on board, but he unfortunately will not be well liked, so that's not going to happen. And then what we're going to do is go back after Väisänen, unless he wants something more than what he was asking for previously. Ooh, 6.8 effectively for 2 years. I don't know about that. That's quite a bit. Well, let's see what's out there in free agency. Is there anyone better than him that's going for roughly the same amount of money? Thing is, I also want a left-handed defenseman. There is Golyayev, who had a 69 grade last season, 53 points with Philly. Very physical, 129 hits. However, his defensive ratings aren't exactly up there, at least not compared to Väisänen's. Väisänen's are very good. Maybe I will re-sign him. I don't know. 6.8 is just a little much. But if I can't find anybody better, then we will go back after him. Yeah, I mean, I guess 6.8 is roughly around what a 2.5-star defenseman would get in free agency. So it just seems like a little much, But yeah, I'm not finding anybody better, honestly. So we will go back after Väisänen. I will give him, I'll start at 6.2, and he's apparently already asking for below his market value as a bridge contract. Really? He's asking for below market value, you're saying? Okay. Sure. I mean, we'll do that. That does not seem like below market value for a 2.5 star defenseman to me, but I guess the free agency's saying a different story, right? Like most of these defensemen are going for quite a bit in terms of their asking price. There is, of course, Lucas Sweden, who we saw in the last one, but I just I just can't justify spending minimum 10 mil on a goaltender in this save file, considering how terrible goaltending has been in this save file. I just don't. As good as he is, I don't want to take that chance because he's also asking for the no movement clause, right? And I don't want to not be able to send him down if he by chance doesn't perform up to expectations, right? So I think we're gonna pass on Lucas Sweden, and then also we saw that Seattle has Hrabal on their trade block, and he was a nomination for the Vezina, I believe, but we do not have the assets to trade for him, so we are not going to be trading for him. What we are going to do, however, is renew Artamanov and Nadeau at the very least, and probably Ryabkin as well, because they are all very good for this team. Nadeau, he wants 7 mil for 3 years, and I got him down to 6.6. Artamanov wants 8.7 for 5 years. That's quite a bit, but you know what? He deserves it. He is very good for us last year. All right, I somehow managed to get him down almost a full million to 7.8 for 5 years. I will definitely do that for him. And then Ryabkin 7.3. Yeah, these guys are costing a lot. You know, I think I'll hold off on Ryabkin just for now. I'll qualify him, obviously, but I want to see what our salary cap situation is after we have Artamanov and Nadeau re-signed, and then obviously the free agency moves. So I think we're going to simulate ahead here a little bit. And the Detroit Red Wings have accepted our offer of a 6th-round pick and the rights to Stefano Adamo for Spencer Knight at 50% of his salary retained. Complete trade. And now it's time for the draft lottery. So at number 16 will be Anaheim, followed up by St. Louis, Colorado, San Jose, Vegas, Buffalo, Boston, Edmonton, Montreal, Tampa, Edmonton, Carolina, Columbus, Winnipeg, and Pittsburgh at number 1, followed by the Islanders. And here we go. Time for the entry draft. We do have a 1st-round pick. It's from Chicago. However, that is not until 23, so we'll see who's available at number 23 for us. Okay, we do still have a 3-star potential available here. Rasmus Stolt. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be a project, and controversy will follow. Okay. Yep, it's always controversial. It's always controversy will follow. Gabriel Wickstrom, okay, not bad. 16 checking rating, 18 determination, 20 temperaments. Physical ratings are decent, I guess. Offensive ratings are decent. 66 grade in his current league, 32 points in 36 games played. And I'm not really seeing anybody else too attractive here. So Wickstrom, welcome to the New York Rangers. And in the second round now, we're down to 1 2.5-star potential left in Jacob Anderson. He's a goaltender. And then there's also a 1.5-star ability, Yevgeny Kozlov. Yeah, I think we'll take Kozlov. He looks pretty good for a 1.5-star ability. I know he only has a 2-star potential, but maybe he could get that up there a little bit. So Yevgeny Kozlov, welcome to the New York Rangers. Now we have another 2nd-round pick, so we may as well take the goaltender, Anderson. And now we have yet another 2nd-round pick, which unfortunately does not look like it's going to be too valuable, as there's not really too many good guys left. Ooh, Garrett Lindbergh is on the trade block for Pittsburgh. He had 53 points last year and a 65 grading. He's only a 2.5-star ability, so this might be an easy get. So let's just see if we can offer them our 2nd. Okay, so we can give them the rights to Craig House, who's 20, the 1-star ability, 2-star potential. I mean, I think he could be something, but it's going to take him a while to get that. Like, it's going to take him at least another few years, I think, to get to a point where he's really making an impact in the NHL. So we'll be moving on from him, as well as the remainder of our draft picks in this year's draft. So we have a 2nd-round pick and 2/3 and a 4th in exchange for Garrett Lindbergh, who's 25 years of age, right-handed defenseman who can play the left side as well if needed. Great puck handler, 20 puck handling rating, determination at 16. Defensive ratings are all solid. Physical ratings are all solid as well. Let's get a look at his stats. Yeah, once again, he had 53 points last year and a 65 grade, 121 hits. So he is perfect, honestly. So offer trade, finalized. There it is. And with that being done, we can now simulate the rest of the draft. And there it is. We managed to sign Noah Dauer-Nielsen, Ben Hemmerling, and VT Weissman is back on the team as well. So with all the moves that we have made, we are now at 74.3 in cap. In goal, you have Ivanov and Knight. We're going to need a third stringer. On defense, you have 7. You have Fox, Willander, Bachvist, Matichuk, Väisänen, O'Rourke, and Lindberg. And then at forward, we're going to need at least one more, preferably 2 or 3, maybe even 3. So we still have some moves to make, but that was a good start to the offseason, I think. And in goal, let's just get someone cheap for a third stringer. Let's go after Ivan Zigulov. In 18 games played for the New Jersey Devils last season, he had a .921 save percentage. And best of all, he does not want too much money. He wants less than $1 million, so we will give him that. All right, there was Demidov. He signed with Buffalo. I don't think we were going to be able to afford Demidov, to be honest, because with the contracts of Artamanov and Nadeau coming up, since they're going to start making more next season, I don't think we would have been able to afford Demidov long term, but that is okay. We can look elsewhere. I think we're going to sign Oliver Johansson here. Very good physical category. Offensive category is pretty good as well. Defensive category is passable. Wish his hitting was a bit better. Wish checking was a bit better as well. Last year, he only had 5 games played for Ottawa and 2 points, 57 grade. So again, not a pretty player, but he will do well enough for some depth. He wants 2.7. I'll give him 2.8 for 3 years. And we're also going to be signing James Reeder. He's got 18 puck handling, 16 getting open, 16 defensive read, decent physical category, decent mental category, and he only wants 1.36 for 2 years. So I'll give him 1.4. There you go. I think I'll re-sign Harshan Kyla as well. 1.33 for 3 years sounds good to me. And I did have to renegotiate with James Reeder, but we did get him for nearly 1.7. So there you go. We got all of our desired free agents. I know that none of them were really, pretty players by any means. I mean, you can make the argument for Lindberg. We'll see how he simulates, but for the most part, just some depth signings, depth trades, just to be able to have a full roster of 23. I mean, obviously we have 24 right now. And I think all those changes were necessary for a roster reset, because considering the contracts that we have coming up, we definitely need to do that. And especially considering the reverse sweep that we just suffered in this past first round. So let's hope that does us some good. In goal, you have Ivanov and Knight. On defense, you have Fox, Willander, Bachvist, O'Rourke, Matichuk, Lindberg, and Väisänen. And remember, Matichuk wants 8.2 now for 3 years. So I doubt we're going to be able to keep him beyond this year. So we might also want to consider moving him. But this is our roster for right now. And then at forward, you have Artamanov, Tomek, Nadeau. That's a good first line. You have Ryabkin, Helenius, Sardarian, Marinochkin, Johansson, and Wenberg, Hughes, Dower Nielsen, Hemmerling, Reeder, and Kyla. So I think this roster is more than capable of not only getting to the playoffs next year, but still competing for the Stanley Cup because, I mean, obviously Fox is getting older. He's 34 now, right? So he's getting up there, but he's still a good player. Artamanov, very good player. Tomek, very good player. Willander, very good player. So we should have no trouble in, at the very least, making the playoffs, and that's already half the battle, right? So that being said, I think we can move on to the Hall of Fame inductions here. And into Hockey Hall of Fame this year are Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Joe Pavelski, and Nikolai Khabibulin. So Sid and Gino get in the same year. Okay, so we actually have a bunch of our guys out on international duty during the preseason, so we have to go out and sign some guys from free agency. And we're going to be signing a familiar face, Braden Schneider, who wants 1.1 for 2 years, currently on a tryout with Utah, but that does not prevent us from signing him. There you go. So welcome back to the New York Rangers, Braden Schneider. Wait, what? 24? I thought I had 23 on the roster. I thought I just sent down everybody. Wait, what? What is Schneider doing? I sent him down. I remember sending him down. I know I didn't have that on recording because I probably cut that out of the video, but I know I for sure sent him down. Why is he back up? I did not call Braden Schneider up. Anyway, this is our roster heading into year number 9. You have Ivanov and Knight in net. On defense, you have Fox, Willander, Bachvist, Matichuk, Väisänen, O'Rourke, and Lindberg. And at forward, you have Nadeau, Artamanov, Tomek, Helenius, Ryabkin, Sardarian, Marinochkin, Johansson, Wenberg, Dower Nielsen, Hemmerling, Reeder, Hughes, and Kyla. So with that, I will end things off here, and the next one we will get underway with the year 9 simulation.